Hello, I'm back. And as promised, I am now going to share some of the challenges that I faced after surgery. Okay, so right after surgery, I don't know if you can really prepare yourself for what life is going to look like after you have the surgery. So for me, I didn't have much time to prepare for open heart surgery. The only experience that I had seen of open heart surgery were my maternal grandparents. They both had open heart surgery, and neither of them survived for long after those surgeries. So naturally, that was the only experience that I have known of personally. I had a lot of fear around going into these surgeries. But again, because of my strong faith, because of my family and the support that I had, I was pretty much clear that this was the way forward that I had to move in order to resolve the issue and save my life. So, just a little bit of what it's like after having open heart surgery. The first couple of days I spent and then in the ICU, I honestly don't really have much recollection of that time. What I do remember very clearly is my grandbaby and me seeing him clearly and, wanting to reach out to him. But that is when I became aware that I had the respirator. And, that was when that became clear to me that I was intubated. And so I couldn't, talk to him, get to him, or whatever. There were just a few other experiences I had, but in the ICU, I don't really remember much. One of the things that happened to me, which is personal to my case, is when I woke up from my surgery, I had left side weakness. It is something that has become a thing. Like whenever since that time, it's become a thing. Whenever I have to have any type of anesthesia, it's a chance that I might wake up with some left side weakness. We haven't quite figured that one out yet. But the first time it happened to me was right after this surgery. So naturally, when that happened, the care team was nervous of the possibility that I had suffered from a stroke. So I underwent a CT scan, which is a CAT scan, and also an MRI while I was in the ICU. I did not have a stroke, but this phenomenon of like left side weakness is like a thing with me that's documented in my medical history. And then I was moved to like a critical care unit where people on that unit of the facility are people who have undergone, heart surgery. And when I tell y'all that even though they had me on some heavy drugs, okay, everything hurt. It hurt to breathe. It hurt to turn my head. I couldn't lift my arms. My arms were like to the sides of me. It hurt to name it. I mean, it was difficult. But you have to move your body. You have to learn how to move your body. You have to learn how to recover because you want to send the signal to your body that it is needed. These muscles are needed. Your lungs are needed. Taking deep breaths. Oh my goodness, they hurt so bad, but I had to do it. And, I had to cough so that my lungs could remain clear and healthy. So they help a lot. And in the hospital they had, the respiratory therapist was coming in and helping me with some of those exercises. They encouraged me to get out of the bed to actually sit up in a chair, so I was able to do that. I was also, before I was able to be discharged from the hospital, I had to demonstrate that I was able to walk around the unit. I did have a walker. It took me a while to do that. What would happen to me is, I think the first time I got as far as the door of my room and my oxygen level dropped so low, they were like, yeah, we're not taking you out for a walk. That was good for the day. You can go back. So I spent a significant amount of time in the hospital after this surgery because of my, recovery, which could be different for other people. So I don't think it's like a one size fit all. It depends on the person and their strength. Y'all, this incredible thing happened where every morning when I would say my prayers, because I still said my morning prayers while I was in the hospital. I still gave Iba. I still, gave thanks and acknowledgement and honor to all of the deities. But while I was there, I had this incredible love for my body. Like, I just was giving thanks to my body for getting me through surgery. I was like, oh my God, like, my body is freaking strong. It's phenomenal. And I learned to like start speaking to my own body about how resilient it was, and giving thanks to my heart, and giving thanks to my lungs, and giving thanks to my brain, for surviving, to my limbs, etc. So, long story short, it was a little bit of a hospital stay, but the day that I left, I cried. I cried. I walked out of that building. My husband never left my side. He pretty much lived at the hospital with me, of course. But as I stated, it was amazing to walk out of that hospital. And when I did, I broke down crying. I broke down crying, giving thanks for my life. So, coming home, I had support. I'm a mother of many children, and my daughters are my oldest children, and my three surviving daughters, because most people know I lost one of my daughters years ago. But my three daughters, they all helped me out significantly. I have daughter-in-laws. They were here. They're my daughters in love. I had a lot of support, at home with family. I didn't have to worry about that. Really funny story. So, you come home, and as I stated earlier, I couldn't really move my arms at first. I had like the little heart pillow, so I would hold on to that to move and things. And my family was trying to like make sure that I was comfortable sleeping. I come home, it's like getting in my bed felt impossible. Like, I needed help getting into the bed. And so my daughter, my husband, they prop me up. They've got all these pillows and everything so I can go to sleep. And then they leave, and they're out in the living room, and like I fall over. Like, I go boom and I fall over, right? I can't get up, y'all. I'm like, help, help. So they came in and they helped me. My nurse from the hospital then called the following morning and was like, how's everything going? I'm like, I can't sleep. I can't get comfortable in my bed, no matter how many pillows, no matter how much, my legs are bent. I tried to replicate how they have you in the hospital, where they pretty much lift your knees up, have you fall back in the bed, and then raise. It was like a whole system so that I didn't put a lot of strain on my chest. And so she's like, well, a lot of people who have open heart surgery, they do much better sleeping in a recliner than they do sleeping in their bed. And so that's all I needed to say. Within a few hours, there was a recliner being delivered to my house. My husband went and brought me a recliner, y'all. I'm sitting in it now. There was a recliner delivered to my house with that gets heated. And so I spent quite a bit of time for the first like 3 weeks, maybe even 4, sleeping in a recliner. Yeah, I spent a lot of time sleeping in this recliner as I was, healing. I had physical therapy. I had occupational therapy where, they were coming to my home, teaching me how to walk again. I couldn't even walk to my front door at first. I was so happy when I was finally able to do that. Of course, I couldn't reach for anything in my cabinets to prepare food for myself or get clothes down, but eventually I was able to do that. I took my time. I listened to my body. I didn't push myself. I tried not to get frustrated. And again, support, support, support. I had a lot of support from my family, so they were around to help me out. And even though I'm the kind of person, I don't like taking narcotics. I don't like the way they make me feel. But I did, y'all. I took the drugs. I mean, you have to. If you don't take the drugs, the pain, the pain, the pain. Have to remember, you're healing. It's not just this upper layer of skin. It's also the muscles, it's the nerves, it's everything. And this part of my body, isn't meant to be opened and looked at, and especially manipulated and reconstructed and all of these things. So it took some time for that healing process. Because of that open heart surgery, till this day, I still have back trouble. the back spasms were far more painful than the healing of my chest. The doctor did explain to me, the surgeon explained that after, while surgery happens, he's like, we open up your sternum and we pull it back. So most people think that, all the pain is in the front, but actually it's your back. 2 years later, I still have issues with my back. Serious, serious back pain from, having my body pretty much spread open in the front, and the healing process, of that recovery can cause significant back pain. So this is the video just explaining some of what happens I should say what happened with me in my case after surgery, some of those complications. So I'm going to make another video that's going to talk about some of the other health issues that contributed greatly to the why I had to have the surgery in the first place, and how my life has changed today medically, some of the things that have changed that I'm going through today.